Now that Annabelle's come home, how about we just keep her home? No more movies.
Annabelle Comes Home.
So Annabelle is the newest Conjuring Universe film, directed and written by Gary Dauberman, who wrote all these other ones. He wrote It Part 2, that's coming in this September, and he wrote the first Conjuring, the second one I believe, and like Annabelle Creations. He's wrote a lot of these, The Nun. I'm not sure he wrote all of them, but most of these Conjuring Universe films he has wrote, if not all of them. So now he is in the director's chair for the first time, and I heard that going into this movie, and that's something that when you hear it, you're like, oof, this is definitely going to be risky. Like, is he gonna be good? Is he gonna be bad? For the most part, I will say that it felt just like another Conjuring movie, the way he directed, but that's not what I'm here to talk about, because there's other things that are bad about this movie. But before I talk about those bad things, let's go over the quick plot synopsis, because this movie has a very thin plot. So, Annabelle is released by this girl who just wants to see her dad again. She wants to believe in the afterlife, so she releases Annabelle, thinking that she might get to see her dad and say goodbye one last time. And then all hell breaks loose. Now they gotta contain the evil, put Annabelle back in her cage, because where did she go? She's hiding somewhere, so we gotta find her. So I guess this movie is basically Where's Waldo? Except where's Annabelle? Where is she? Let's find her so we can end this fucking film. And that's basically the plot. Now, I am not big on this franchise. This is one of my least favorite genres of horror, the whole possession thing. Don't give a crap about it at all. I went into this with low expectations, hardly any expectations of this being great at all, and it still was not good enough to make me be like, oh wow, that actually impressed me. I was, nope. In fact, there was one guy in the audience who basically summed up how I felt about this movie out loud by snoring. That guy fell asleep 5 minutes into this film. I guess it's just that boring. I didn't find it that boring, but it is kind of slow. But before we actually dive into my negatives and pros, I just want to tell the quick story of that guy. Holy shit. So, because this is much more entertaining, believe me, than the film. My experience with that guy, way more entertaining about this movie. In fact, if this movie was better, that would have pissed me off, and I would have told somebody, but I was like, whatever, this movie sucks. Keep snoring, buddy. Now, his snoring wasn't like what I did earlier. It was like a heavy breathe every like 30 seconds or so. You like, and then like every 5 to 10 minutes, you'd hear the loud one. Finally, some woman like 10 seats to my right finally just had enough. It was like, shut the fuck up! At which point my dad decided to chime in and be like, yeah, wake up! In a joking way. My dad didn't give a shit about the movie either. He was on my side. He's like, yeah, movie sucks. Keep snoring. But then that woman left, and I was like, oh great, she's gonna tell on him. Thank you. Nope. When she didn't come back, I was like, well, at least maybe she told on him and left. Like, give me my money back. By the way, there's a guy snoring. Go handle that shit for the other people, because I'm a good person. Nope, she's just another dipshit, too. Because if anybody actually walked in, like a usher for about 2 minutes, that's all you need, you would hear that loud snore. In fact, by the end of the movie, I found out that he was the only guy in that entire row of 20 seats by himself. No wonder, he's a fucking sad, lonely piece of shit sack of human waste who just goes to the movie like, I feel like sleeping. I think I'll go to the movies because, my bed's just not comfortable enough. But yeah, no one told on the fucker, and if the movie was better, I would have told on him. Believe me, I would have. Another thing that would have pissed me off if this movie was better is the whole shaking your bag of popcorn. I don't know what the fuck you think that does for your popcorn. It doesn't make it taste better. Like, ch 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 ch. Does it taste good yet? No, it's still popcorn. It's the same shit you just bought. Another interesting thing about my experience with this movie was the fact that there was 3 girls who were no older than 14 years old at this rated R movie that doesn't even qualify to be R. But the trailers that they were watching would scared them enough to leave, or they just thought they were gonna get caught, or they were like, holy shit, these are some intense commercials for Toy Story 4. But then they left. So yeah, my experience with the audience was a lot more fun than this movie. In fact, I just wanted to walk out. Snoring aside, the movie, I just wanted to walk out, but I was like, I gotta review it because it's a horror movie. That's what I like to do, review horror movies. I saw the other 2 in preparation. I just bought Annabelle and Annabelle Creations in the last month and rewatched them for the first time since like 2014 or some shit. So I was like prepping for this, so I'm like, fuck it. Gotta stick through it. And another thing I want to say before I dive into my pros and cons is that I'm kind of irritated by the fact that this movie even came out this week. It's bullshit. This movie is like vibe in the movie when you like see the outside world. You got like all these fall decorations, like orange leaves. Seriously, like they shot it like a fall movie. They released it the same week as Child's Play on purpose because they want to steal money from Child's Play. They want to they want to shit all over their parade and steal the thunder from Child's Play. Like, we're gonna take your money, take your audience. Come see our doll movie. I hate to break it to you, Annabelle, but your doll movie sucks. At least Child's Play had a plot, all right, and some good character arcs. We got dipshit A, B, and C doing dumb shit, and I love that Child's Play released this poster, this new one, like just yesterday when this movie came out. I mean, technically it's coming out today, but I saw it yesterday on like the day before when they have like the 2 late showings. But I love that they released this poster right here of basically Chucky beheading Annabelle and stabbing her in her little neck hole like, fuck you, Chucky's home, bitch, come see my movie. And I highly endorse that poster. See Child's Play, do not see this movie, it sucks. With that all being said, let's actually dive into the review. What are the pros of this movie? Well, I like Ed and Lorraine. They're in this. This is the only Annabelle movie with Ed and Lorraine, if you don't count the beginning of Conjuring, which I don't because that's not an Annabelle movie, although that is probably one of the creepiest part of that movie is the beginning. I remember seeing that in 2013. It gave me goosebumps, and I thought Annabelle was creepy. Did not expect this trilogy to come from that, but hey, here we are. But I like seeing them. They're still the same lovable Ed and Lorraine. They got that chemistry together, and it's just believable. They feel like a husband and wife, but unfortunately, they are the bookends of this movie, and I gotta be honest, they didn't even need this side of the bookend. They just needed this one. They were not needed at the beginning. It is 10 minutes wasted, if that, less than 10. The first 10 minutes of this movie is basically Ed and Lorraine talking to those nurses from the beginning of Conjuring. They just take that scene, reshoot it, or they literally actually take it and they kind of like extend it a little bit, like 30 seconds, if that, less. And then it just shows them driving home with Annabelle, in case you were wondering how they got home that night. Like, when you're watching Conjuring, like, I wonder how they got that doll from A to B. Oh! And then they put the doll in the cage. You got to see how they did that. They picked the doll up, and then they actually used their arm muscles to put the doll in the cage. I was wondering how they did that. And then they have this special, like, sticker that they put on the window that says, hey, don't open this. But, you know, dipshit A, like I was talking about earlier, Darlena, whatever the hell her name is, in this movie, doesn't listen. Wants to see her daddy. But yeah, that whole open with Ed and Lorraine, it was just shoehorned in just to give us more Ed and Lorraine, which I would have wanted throughout the whole movie. That's what I was expecting because of the trailers, but you get 10 minutes of them, and that's it, and it's not even necessary what you get from them. So this is like a sequel to Conjuring and prequel to Conjuring 2. If Conjuring 2 does take place after Conjuring 1, I think this takes place in between, but the beginning is like at the same time as Conjuring 1, but then it like goes 1 year later, because fuck it, 1 year later. And I will say for the most part, the continuity with like the 70s feel, the hairstyles, the dresses, how they dress, how they acted, and all the TVs, the shows that were on the TV, they go to the grocery store and every item on the shelf, like my dad was like, yep, that's 70s, yep, haven't seen that one in a while, yep, that's the right price. So they got all that down, so I appreciated that. And the house of Ed and Lorraine looks just like the house in the Conjuring films when you do get to see it. Like in Conjuring 2, when you see Valak walking around that room that Lorraine likes to paint in. So I like the continuity there. There are a couple of cool little gags, a couple of scares. They're decent, but by the time you get to those, you've just been nauseated by the same setup and bullshit 1,000 times over. By the time you get to a good scare, you're like, I'm so over it. But they do have a good, decent one involving like some 70s game called Feely Mealy, which sounds like a sexual harassment game if you think about it, Feel Me. And there was a decent one involving the coin, but other than that, all the other scares were predictable. There's a lot of like setups. I guess we're in my cons now. Oh, although the performances were good. They're believable. They do have that range and they do start crying and it's believable because believe me, I'd be shitting my pants in this situation. And I will say that the premise of this movie is intriguing. I like the premise. It's like we see these artifacts, dozens of them in the first 2 Conjuring movies, and we were told that there's a story behind all of them. So that's what's, causing this cinematic universe called the Conjuring Universe, based off of all these items. But we're like, okay, so we're gonna get a movie where we get to see all those items like do shit and like haunt these kids. No, it's just like 2 or 3 of them. Like we'll see one item like turn, and then we'll see one item like fall over, and it's like, does that really count as like getting to see that thing to its fullest potential? I guess these things just move, and that's all you get. Just things throughout this whole movie, just moving slightly. Annabelle, I think, moves once in this movie. Like, you get to see her move once, that's it. These are only things that I complain about because the movie was just not good. If the movie was better, I'd look past this shit, but it's not good. But yeah, I guess my biggest negative is that this movie is boring. It could have been trimmed down some. The scares, there's like all these setups and like no payoffs. Everything is so fucking slow, especially this blonde. Like seriously, she is so slow with everything she does that it gets to a point where this girl, the little girl Judy, she just has had enough of it. Like she's trying to like get this key, and she's like, okay, let's take this very very slow. And then the girl's like, fuck it, and just grabs the key, and the girl's like, what? How did you move so fast? How do you do that? Show me, because seriously, I don't know how to move fast. Moving slower isn't like causing the shield that will shield you from harm and death. Go quicker, you dipshit. If that girl lived by your lifestyle and did everything slow when you were having an asthma attack, you'd be fucking dead. Speaking of which, when she has this asthma attack, and I was wondering how that was going to play into this film, they established that this gorgeous girl, who for some reason is just so socially awkward when it comes to guys, and just doesn't have any, like, fucking, like, nerve to talk to guys. I was like, whatever, you're beautiful. Guys should be flocking to you all the time. So I just did not buy that at all. Especially the guy. The guy was handsome too. And they were like the cliche, like stuttering and don't know how to talk to each other. Just don't want to ask him to prom. It's like, whatever. But she has asthma, and I guess that's the thing that makes her insecure. But she like has an asthma attack at the end. I'm like, oh, so is this? What's this for? Oh, so this Judy girl can go to the car real quick because we need a scare out there with the werewolf that we never actually see. There's a werewolf now, and we don't even really see it. And then they insert the idea that these Warrens have chickens in their backyard. I didn't know that. They have a chicken farm in their backyard. I was like, okay, what's that for? Oh, again, nothing. I guess the chicken dies off camera, but do we see it? Nope. Why is this movie rated R? Oh, because a girl throws up blood in 2 frames. You seriously hate this black hair girl? I don't know what the fuck her name is. I think it's Darlena? We'll go with it. And you just hate her so much that there's a point where they fake you out with her dying, where I was like, yes, she's dead. And it's like, nope, she's not dead. It was a fake knife that went into her fake stomach, and she felt fake pain. See? Gotcha. That's pretty pathetic when one of the main girls in this movie, the 3 people in this whole fucking movie, when one of them is, I think, dying, I'm like, finally! And then it's like, nope, she's alive. And her whole reasoning behind, like, setting all this shit loose and, gumming up the works and fucking this little girl over, having to put her through this hell because of her stupid selfishness. Like, I want to see my dad again. And then when she finally does see her dad, it's like, oh shit, too scary for me. Sorry I ever bothered with this shit. I'm gonna try to go home now. She's locked in that room with all those artifacts for a good long while, and she never once, like, bangs on the door continuously, like, get me out of here, because she knows there's 2 people on the other side. Why aren't you asking for help? Not to mention there's like 4 windows that you could try to crawl through. She doesn't do shit. And then the boyfriend, who's not really the boyfriend, he's just this guy who has a crush. He literally does that cliche thing that you would see in movies and TV shows back then where they play guitar, they hold like the boombox over their head outside the girl's window, like, will you go to prom with me? Playing Peter Gabriel or some shit. That's in this movie. I laughed at that. Like, wow, we're going there? It's just weird comedy in the middle of all this dumb chaos, and it's like, it does not fit at all. It is so cringy. Like, literally cringy. Like, cringe look on my face while it happened. I usually don't do that. It was bad comedy. Especially the pizza guy. What the fuck was that? Oh, and the boyfriend's name is something like, he's got balls? Like, I forget what his nickname was, but it's like, apparently it's just the town name. Everyone goes, oh, it's person A who has balls. I have no idea. It was just dumb. I just hated the main girls in this movie. Like at first, not the little girl, but the 2 ones. Like, because the one was very fucking slow with everything she did. It was irritating. And they're all just typical beautiful girls. Like, there's not like an ugly girl in this movie. Everyone's gorgeous. Like, even people in the background. It's like, beautiful people. But the decisions did not feel real by these people. It's like, seriously, how hard is it to leave? And they say at one point, like, we don't think it's safe to leave. You don't think it's safe to leave the house of possessed items? Why the fuck not? At one point, Darlena does get possessed. Confirmed, she's possessed. And Annabelle, the demon in this movie, continues to try to possess Judy. So it's like, how many souls do you need? I thought it was just 1. But yeah, this movie was just a big disappointment for a movie that I had no expectations for at all. So it still sucked. Like, just the typical thing walking in the background. Oh, this guy's walking in the background. Oh, this thing's walking over here. Oh, look out. This movie's so silent, too, so I could hear that guy snoring a hell of a lot clearer because this movie utilizes that lack of sound to build tension throughout 90% of the movie. So there's like no score to the film at all. It's just like very quiet. But yeah, big disappointment. The concept's there. We could have saw like all kinds of ghosts, but we only see three. We see a bride, a werewolf, barely, and the coin guy. Those are the three. The bride, werewolf, coin guy, and then Annabelle, like here and there. That's it. Just typical scares that we've seen before. There's not even like good stylish directing or camera work in this movie. There is like the bed scene that was kind of effective. I liked like the shot of the wall and like the shadows changed, but we've seen that before. There's nothing new or creative here. It's just another Conjuring Universe movie that feels like the other ones. If you want to see a better Annabelle movie, go check out the one before this. And if you want to see a better Conjuring Universe movie, just check out The Conjuring and then stop there. So overall, I just gotta say, when it comes to Annabelle Comes Home, this movie to me was just wasted time. And those are my thoughts on this movie. What did you think about it? Put your thoughts in the comments below. Is this the best Annabelle movie? I might be doing an Annabelle ranking, and I will be doing a Child's Play ranking that will be dropping later tonight before midnight. So look out for that. But anyways, post your comments on this movie in the comments below. Talk about it, whatever you want. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that I'm just nitpicking the movie because I didn't like it. But whatever. This movie, it's just not that good. Alright, go see Child's Play. But anyways, hit this like button over here and tell all your friends about me. In fact, if you're a subscriber, you can create another account and subscribe to me again, and I would greatly appreciate it. And you can do that just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. Until next time,
Auf Wiedersehen.